Hi, my name is Doug, and I'm a student at Master's College and Seminary in Ontario, Canada. I've always been fascinated. I'm coming through, obviously, a theological school. I'm not here to force any sort of view, opinion, even though I do have my faith. But I also have science, and I like that as well. And I see a nice mesh between the two of them. Now, as I started going through it, this came to me, and I began writing about it. So I just want to share it with you. Um, it's just that if I'm going to find if something's correct or not, I need to quantify empirical data. We need actual testable data, and that's you're going to get a quantifiable exact answer. Now, to get close, we can use research and doctors and scientists and use statistics, theological thoughts, everything alike. But when I wound all this and put it together, looking at the stats and running those and looking at it empirically and running in theology tested like science, it blew my mind. So let me give you an example. I just use regular stats that we all know. Lightning strikes, boom. Okay, we've all seen a lightning strike. We may know someone who's been hit by one, but that's a 1 in 1.2 million chance. So a lot of us think we're not getting that. Even a shark attack. If you're going to be bitten by a shark, which I was terrified about for years with Jaws, that's 1 in 11.5 million. Okay? Now, it's rare, but it's plausible. Even like the lottery, Powerballs are like 1 in 300 million that someone's going to win, but somebody does sometimes, but rarely. I had it put to me once if someone had 300 million live rounds and one was empty, would you take the chance on yourself? No. So framing the most empirical, probable, statistically sound conclusion for a quantifiable, measurable framework to analyze probabilities of creation and our existence. Okay. Now, for those statistics, consider this: combining almost one on top of the other, like compound, taking statistics like that are independent and then combining them extrapolates the odds tremendously. So I'll give you an example. To make the rarity of the event, the probability of a lightning strike and a shark bite in the exact same year is virtually zero. So imagine the pileup of odds that you would need just for life's origin that demands far more than just those two things. And how safe we feel that, yeah, we're probably not going to win the lottery and get bit by a shark and hit by lightning this year. When countless independent factors must align exactly for life, the combined odds approach zero. These everyday analogies set the stage. Is our existence a cosmic fluke? Cosmic fluke, or is there a deeper explanation hinted by these extreme odds? I'll get into it more right now, slide 2. The modern physics shows the universe's constants are staunchly precise, like our gravitational pull, so on and so forth. Roger Penrose calculated that the Big Bang's entropy was fine-tuned to 1 part in 10 to the 10 to the 123rd power, which is effectively zero, basically touching it. Astrophysicist Hugh Ross estimates that the odds of all cosmic parameters coming together, permitting life alone, is 1 in 10 to the 138th power. That's 10 to the power of 138 zeros. Now, just taking a small piece of that, a tiny tweak, okay, let's talk about the moon. A 1 to the 10 to the power of 60, okay, if we were out just in one little area, okay, and we were trying to count from 10 to the power of 60, which is just the odds that our moon would be off, you would run out of time counting. If you were going 1, 2, 3, 4, before the universe even ended, there's not enough time. The required time calculated is approximately 3.17 times to the 10 to the 52 power in year. In accepted comparison, the accepted age of the universe is only 1.38 times. So you're actually 5 times longer than the universe has been around. How can that be? Okay? You'll probably have to listen to that one again, but it's clever. Nobel physicist Paul Davies calls this fine-tuning powerful evidence of intelligence in nature. And Fred Hoyle, I love his, he says, it's as if some super intellect is monkeyed with physics. So such testimonies show fine-tuning isn't just a random fluke. Now, looking at slide 3, fine-tuning again, okay, let me emphasize the scale of just a few of the components that had to come together out of chaos to form Earth's creation and a habitable surface for us to sustain life. For example, remember when we talked about the Earth was 1.38 to the 10 to the power 52? Take that stat, throw in gravity's sun is 1 to the power of 10 to 40. The proton-electron mass in the ratio is 10 to the power of 37, and the universe flatness is 1 within the 10 to the power of 60. Now you multiply these independent requirements, and the chance of all these aligning by accident becomes vanishingly small, roughly between 10 to the power of 200 and 10 to the power of 123, depending on your assumptions, which are huge. In plain terms, chance strains at probability, plausibility, and ultimately moves the lever further from our original scientific thought to something much greater that we have to be open to. Scientists like Davies and Hoyle, both true agnostics, say the impression of design is overwhelming. These figures push us to question, is the universe finely tuned or finely designed? So, looking at the rare Earth habitat, okay, so on slide 4 here, another fascinating layer to add to these statistics. Above it, our Earth's positioning alone is just phenomenal. Our planet benefits from improbable alignments. The Earth sits in the sun's habitable zone, okay? With liquid water, which we need, and wood, which is one of the least abundant things in the universe, oxygen, plate tectonics, climate regulation, our protective magnetic field around us, stabilizing large moon for gravity, and our friendly giant Jupiter nearby. Each of these factors having an effect on us. The right tilt, a moon, a shield planet, these all had to fall in place for complex life to even begin. Now, Brownlee's rare Earth hypothesis finds such a combination that would be so rare for that to happen based on exoplanet data. Truly Earth-like planets could occur only once in 10 to the 22 solar systems. These numbers suggest our home is a privileged accident, a puzzle more naturally explained than if it were planned. Now, in slide 5, we see that life's molecular machines are equally astonishing. Human DNA encodes about 3.2 billion pairs of digital code. This tells our cells what to do. Even a small protein of 100 amino acids has to be in the correct order to give the information. So these 4 letters, okay, and the odds of that happening by chance is 1 to the 10 to the power of 130. Possible different sequences. Douglas Axe found the chance of stumbling on a functional protein by random chemistry. That alone is 1 in 10 to the power of 77. Prebiotic experiments with Miller, Urey, in 1953 could make basic amino acids, but they can never create a self-replicating genome. In information theory terms, DNA carries specified complexity like language. Okay? The known cause of such an intricate information is an intelligent mind. Even Anthony Flew, once a famous atheist, drove him towards theism. The next slide, the odds of you. Think about yourself. Think bigger. So we got to get on this planet, and then what about us? How do we get there? What are the odds of us being born? So I look at Dr. Ali Binazar, and I hope I said that right. He estimates an individual's existence, all this is 10 to 2.685 million. And this accounts for all sperm egg combinations, all cosmological factors. In plain English, it's astronomically unlikely. It's closer to 0 than 1. Interestingly enough, getting to the religion side, Psalm 139 uniquely says, I was uniquely knit together in my mother's womb, and I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Modern science reveals the magnitude of this wonder. Such numbers in scriptures converge. Each human life is statistically miraculous. And this is where my brain went. Again, pick up the Bible. In John 1, when God spoke Logos, he named us in utero. 3.2 billion unique individual name? No one else could do that. That alone divines the odds of unfathomable strength and design. Slide 7, competing explanations. Now, faced with all these improbabilities, I realize there's a lot of moving pieces here. But to explain the universe, we've got naturalism, multiverse, intelligent design. Naturalism claims that physical processes and luck just created everything. It's the default scientific stance, but it needs an extraordinary fluke for it to hit these targets. The multiverse hypothesis just suggests there's multiple universes that suggests all these universes coexist, and in one of these we have life, and that's ours. But this moves to the question: why would we even need multi-universes at all? Why would we have the other ones? And also, it's untestable. So again, I'm looking for quantifiable empirical data. Is a speculative fix as an explanation. Yet intelligent design proposes a purposeful creator who set the perimeters that created gravity laws. This view unifies causality, information, and purpose. The design framework naturally accounts for fine-tuning and the origin of information without relying on just massive chance. Each will have its trade-offs, okay, I understand that, but as we'll see, many scholars find design the most coherent fit with the evidence, and that's what I'm going to follow. So in debates with my favorite Oxford mathematician, Mr. John Lennox, he often goes and faces off against different atheists. Richard Dawkins argues that the world's suffering and brokenness imply no good creator could exist. And I'm not even going to get into the choice thing. Lennox comes back and just replies with the classic analogy. Look, walking through a forest, okay, and you find a broken watch, you would never conclude that there wasn't a watchmaker and this was something being formed by sheer chance. You wouldn't walk the forest and say, oh, look, that watch is making itself. Go back in 100 million years and it'll be a watch. No, you would believe that something happened to the watch. Therefore, to believe something happened to the watch would have had to be created. And 99% of us would agree that would be our thought. Someone created it and someone broke it. Not that it was being built. That is time of the gaps. Because we can't prove, I'm not going to be around 100 billion years, that if it really did make a watch. But we got to look at what is rational. No rationally intelligent would tell us or assume or even give us anything but an intelligent designer who built the watch that is now broken. It is not in the middle of being made. That is not crazy, okay? Lennox then points out that a fallen creation does explain imperfections. In a world that we live in, it's awful. We know, okay? There are beautiful parts to life, but it's hard. And it has flaws. And it's design gone awry, okay? We can't get away from that. Dawkins' own worldview has that. But Lennox notes, there's no ultimate hope, whereas theistic hope thrives in a broken world. Slide 9, I love this. Morality and design. Lennox also exposed tensions in Dawkins' views. He once asked Dawkins, why do you believe that assault is wrong? And I'm talking about a very awful assault. Dawkins replied, well, that's our moral sense, comes from evolution. Survival of the fittest. Lennox then observed, if that's so, then saying that assault is wrong is as arbitrary as any evolutionary instinct like blinking. Without God, objective rights vanish into relativism. And what defines right or wrong without a moral lawgiver, and as an awful, as an example used here, it shows the gaps in the survival of the fittest and self-preservation. There'd be no need to be doing that. Furthermore, Lennox reminds us of Dawkins' words from an earlier era. Dawkins defined biology as the study of complicated things which give the impression of having been designed. Yet Dawkins now rejects design. So Lennox highlights this inconsistency, and Science itself notes that the appearance of design, so dismissing it seems unfounded. In debates, Dawkins may, characterize theism, but Lennox stays focused on more logic and evidence, and that's what I want to pull from today. Now, advanced intellects, when they're looking at creation, I wanted to find, some people in the scientific world that I could trust. So I just did what anyone else would do. Hey, let's try to find some of the smartest people in the world and what they think. Dr. Hoon Kim, I found he was reported to have the highest IQ at 276. He's into quantum science. Even that, he said, I was doing quantum science and it pointed him to Christ. It suggests intelligence will allow wisdom, evidence, and into belief. Even AI experiments, when advanced models crunched all the cosmological, biological data, now that everyone can go through it and put it in there, and it can be analyzed with what we have, we're getting a highly plausible answer. A physicist, Paul Davis, notes, fine-tuning is powerful evidence of an intelligence behind nature. Now, reason and faith are not enemies. They may both seek the best explanation of reality. On his final slide, across all levels, From cosmic constants to genetic codes, the odds against blind chance are staggering. Naturalism struggles to explain these coincidences without probable luck. The universe is speculative, and Dose Machina, well, intelligent design provides a unified answer and the causality and information. Now, scientists like Hoyle, Penrose, Davies admit modern data raise profound questions. So, where does evidence lead? As John Lennox argues, belief in God can be an infinitely more rational option than alternative leaps of faith. In short, the data invites us to consider the purpose and the design and not abandon them. You're here to make your own assumptions. I'm not here to place any sort of my beliefs, but I'm just putting, again, science, empirical data into this for me. In sum, when we follow the evidence rather than dismiss it, an intelligent creator emerges as the most coherent explanation for our finely tuned universe and complex life. These findings don't contradict science. Science is science. It's real. They extend it. They help it. They dovetail into it. They make it better. I encourage you to follow the evidence wherever it leads. Think critically. Look at the number and the analysis. Run things like I did. And if this resonated with you, you can go and look at me for some more ideas, because I'm looking for the pursuit of truth. I have the knowledge. I need to be able to partner with people who have more knowledge. But the most amazing thing is we ran a rigorous questioning through AI of all different sorts, compiled it, put it back together again and again and again. And finally, artificial intelligence replied. It said, the option of a world not made by design may be intellectually irresponsible. The question should not be, is there an intelligent designer? The question should be, how could there not be? That was AI June 2025. Thank you for your time. Blessings.